But welcome. This is the third Twitch AMA. We have a lot of news to bring you. It's been a while since we've sat in front and, shared everything that's been going on behind the scenes. You guys have been absolutely fantastic through this journey so far. My name is Dustin. If you're new here, I'm the co-founder of Sacred Tales. I'm joined with Josh, and we're going to dive in to what's been going on, some news, some announcements. So welcome, Josh. It's good to finally get this stream up and running, isn't it?
Absolutely. Third time's a charm, like you said. We're not expert streamers, unfortunately. So there are, a lot of different things that come into it. Like we've got like a restream going. So we're actually live on Twitter as well as Twitch right now. So, we took in some notes from investors who, Twitter is a really important avenue for us to be, have exposure on as well. So, we did two birds in one stone with our restream and, currently live on Twitch and Twitter. So, absolutely. Let's get on with that.
Yeah, fantastic. And guys, we will have this recording up on YouTube as well as our Spotify channel. So many different platforms to be able to check the recording out. We do have some questions that came in, some really good questions, a lot of questions from the same people, but that's okay. We're going to utilize everything to give you a better understanding of what Sacred Tales is and what mission we want to accomplish. So let's jump right into it. We just finished phase 1 of the staking. Congratulations, everybody that participated. I know we had some positive response from it. Having the system go live on our website was alone just a cool thing to have happen. Josh, would you like to share what to expect next with our next round of staking?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the staking platform was, success. I can't remember the exact number now, but I think we were close to almost $500,000 in valuation in terms of staking. That all happened so fast, so quick as well. And I think it was a general consensus that many people didn't want to actually unstake, which is always nice, and it really shows kind of what you're building, I think. Now, in respect to the staking platform and why it's for us not sustainable continuously, kind of wanted to go into a kind of just a quick background on that and maybe some past experiences you've had in staking platforms before that run continuously. Now, with these staking platforms, normally the token format is of a rebase, which over time continuously increases the total supply of the token, which essentially mints more tokens. Now, what you'll find is that these projects will have a token tax allocation for these new mints, like a staking tax. So, they can fund these staking pools continuously. But, in a sense, what you really have to kind of look at is the fact that Sacred Tales is of a total supply of 1 billion, and that supply will never increase. It will never increase. The only thing that will happen is deflationary measures with the ban mechanisms that we want to implement when, any kind of purchases, transfers in and out of game, using the bridge, etc. We want to implement these kind of deflationary mechanisms. So, coming back around full circle on the point, the allocations that we provide to you guys for rewards come out of our treasury. And, we have the allocations to do that. And that's what part of the treasury is for. However, with our game that's coming out, we're going to have a lot of different functions, a lot of different exclusive items that you're going to be able to get into, power-ups for your Shinseis, auras, items for your Shinseis, cosmetic items for your characters, special emotes, all of these kind of things, special badges in game. These are all the things that we want to, we will be bringing out after the beta goes out. And for us, it's really important to gamify our staking platform to kind of bring it up to speed with the fact that we're a game, and not just a financial service like a lot of other staking platforms are. So it's really important for us to be able to provide very exclusive items, for the highest tiers, going down in different tiers. There'll be different rarities of items. And for us, and for our personal belief is that by adding these incentives as well as an APY as well, don't get me wrong, the APY is not going away, but it won't be 24/7. It will be a 3 months on, 3 months off maybe. But for us, that's sustainable, and we have to be sustainable. We run it as a business, we operate as a business, and I mean, better than anyone, Dustin, in terms of managing budgets and finances, etc. That everything we do has to be sustainable. So yeah, that's
Absolutely.
MO. And one thing just to add as well on top of that, in terms of rebase tokens, is what you'll see a lot of the time is the staking rewards outweigh the buy pressure. So most of the time, the token price, you'll see it unfortunately decrease. Which then, although you've accrued rewards from your staking and your tokens might be increased, the value of them overall not necessarily will be. So, it's important to remember that. And also, I think, just to kind of remember what Sacred Tales is. And the fact is that we don't have to rely on protocols such as staking platforms to find success. That's kind of my
Absolutely. No, well put. And our website, we've really created everything to be kind of like a one-stop shop, right? So you had the staking platform on the website. You also have our minting platform on the website. And we have a new website that's coming. That's kind of what I wanted to talk about. I've personally seen some of the design elements that we've brought in. Obviously, if you guys have been around, you've seen we've gone through a sense of rebranding with the website, and I think making things a little bit more appealing and creating as part about creating our identity. So Josh, when do you anticipate our new website being live? And maybe is there any possibilities in the near future you could share some of the design work that we currently have?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're currently working on the development of the Sacred Tales website. I know there's been a few select eyes that have been personally selected to actually go through it and give us user feedback on it outside of the team as well. Obviously on a non-disclosure, because I wanted anonymous feedback from our actual users rather than our team. Because we really have to push forwards with the website itself, the content. Now, the website, we hear all the time that people like interacting with it, they enjoy using it, it's fun, it's different, and we're not moving completely away from that kind of initial skeleton. We still want to have that kind of interactive feel to it, but the website, when it was created for the pre-sale, to advertise the pre-sale, to advertise and gather those funds to start take Sacred Tales further in development of the game. However, we're almost a year down the road now, and we have crazy amount of different content, that in-game content that we want to represent straight away from the website. Because if we're gonna, the money that we will spend on marketing with influencers and stuff, which we'll tap into a little bit later, but that, though, the end result is converting people to move into your website and to really start getting a feel for it, look through it, and make them more or less, they'll make the decision based on how they feel through the website, whether they take it a next step further and dive into the Telegram. There's these different processes that people have gone through, and I'm sure you've all gone through that when you've gone and looked at a token before. If a website's no good, it's a no. If it's fine, then you'll go into the Telegram and you'll see what the vibe is in the Telegram. And we have to really kind of concentrate on like behavior patterns in that respect, and make sure that when someone comes onto the website, it really kind of hits them in the face to everything that we are and we are doing. Rather than them having to spend so much time to find out what we are. We really want to kind of get that point across straight away. So that's the kind of emphasis that we have on the development of the new Sacred Tales website. So we'll be including more lore on there. There'll be, they still have the interactive kind of elements or body parts like we had in the old one, because I think, things like that are really fun. And then obviously we'll have, MP4 footage of gameplay. As the splash screen at the very top. So it's a really exciting time for Sacred Tales, and for us it's now just cleaning everything up and making sure it's packaged in a perfect and presentable way, so that we can really start to kind of capture the imaginations of people. And the point to bear in mind as well is first impressions. It's really important that our logo is perfect, that our website is perfect, that our overlay for Twitch is perfect. It's all these little things that people look at, and all the little bits of details that we make sure that we don't miss. Hopefully you guys can kind of appreciate, and of course to prospective investors will appreciate that dedication and commitment, and yeah. And in terms of Dustin, what you said about sharing it as well, we're probably about a week and a half away from a final approval. After the final approval happens, it gets sent to the developers, which then you're looking at around 2 to 2.5 weeks development to get it live. So from now till live, we're probably looking at around 4 weeks, I would say. Optimistically, I think we're very close. The design is pretty much there. All of the artwork has been done on it, which is the bulk of the time. So yeah, really excited about that, and I think it will fairly represent the project.
No, absolutely, and I'm sure you guys have all seen the recent screenshots that we've shared, the day and night cycles. So much is changing in game, and we want to represent the game the best as possible on the website and as well as the trailer. And we'll get into the trailer here shortly. But quickly, I'd like to just give a shout out to the community for the Farmer Doge contest. You guys went out and completely crushed it. I don't think anybody was really even in arm's reach of us. And it really just shows the passion that our community has. And unfortunately, the Farmer Doge had their events where they had to, stop trading. It's unfortunate, but we were able to, I think, get some new followers, some loyal followers, and our team has built a good relationship with the Farmer Doge team. So we're going to continue a collaboration with them in the future. And so there is still, some positives to take away from that experience. Any thoughts on that, Josh?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to add in as well. I think it was a great partnership. It's not about buys or volume or anything like that. It's really just about having the ability to meet good people in this space, and with the dynamics of how it all was and the partnership that we had. It was really nice, and not just for investors that have come into Sacred Tales, but me as a project founder to be able to to meet some of their team and things like that. It's all helpful, and we wish them the best on their relaunch, because I'm sure a lot of different crypto projects have had things happen to them before, with issues with front running and all sorts of stuff. So I'm sure everyone from the Sacred Tales team and investors wish them good luck in their relaunch, and hopefully they can I'm sure they'll get back on their feet in no time. So yeah, I think we should move on to the game trailer. Dustin, what do you think?
Yeah, I wanted to kind of talk about Horrible and the Horrible updates before we get into the game trailer. If you just want to have a quick shout at the progress Horrible has been making.
Yep, absolutely. So Horrible's coming on really well. What we've actually done at the moment is I've hand selected people from our community that are interacting with Horrible and obviously using it for the legacy Shinseis. And they've provided me really detailed user feedback, I think it's called FTUE, first time user experience kind of thing. So we've been going through all of that stuff, what they like, what they don't like, bug fixing, optimization, all of that kind of stuff. That's still happening and under the way. Obviously it's a very big project. There's a lot of things going on behind the scenes of Horrible in terms of how everything interacts with each other, the different contracts, etc. So there's always a lot of things happening towards Horrible. What we're currently working on at the moment is we are implementing ERC 1155. Now, the simplest way is to look at it as NFTs are split into two different types. Normally, you get the ERC 721, which is completely unique NFTs, as in there will never be one that's identical to yours. And then you have the ERC 1155, which is where you can have, for example, one card or character, and there can be multiple of that character, and so people can own multiple copies of it. So you would use that. You would use ERC 1155 for things such as like aura upgrades in game, or cosmetic items that will be obviously we're not going to have unique cosmetic items. So obviously there might be 50 copies of a legendary outfit setup or something like that, and that's where we would need ERC 1155 in Sacred Tales. And of course it's we need it for Instinct as well, where we have a trading card game and people own multiple copies of the same cards. So that's what we're looking at on Hoardable at the moment. We're currently looking at the loading speeds as well. We are thinking of putting a cap on the master page so that you'll have to click load more after like 10 lines, so that because at the moment it's currently wanting to load absolutely everything. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to say, hey, no, don't look at that, just look at this, hoping that it's going to really speed up that process. So yeah, it's a lot of kind of trial and error. If that doesn't work, then we're probably going to have to use Google Cloud Services, where we can grab thumbnail PDFs, thumbnail PNGs instead of MP4 files, which could help with the loading speeds as well. So that's what we've got to look forward to with Hoardable for the next kind of 2-3 weeks. We're working really hard on functionality, optimization, bug fixes, and just kind of general problems that people may not particularly like at the moment. That's what the beta is for. It's there so that we can really kind of gather in all that feedback from everyone using it and see what they like. So we're not looking to onboard any other projects to Hoardable at the moment. So I don't know if maybe you were wondering why Saber Tales is the only one on there. We're not ready for that yet. We want to be fully fledged and have everything absolutely optimum, and we can't do that until the ERC 1155 is out and running and we can fully test that with Instinct. So it's going to be, it's not far away, but it's coming along really well.
Absolutely. All right, so now it's time to talk beta. I know you guys are actually, let's talk the game trailer first. We'll go game trailer and then we'll go into the beta. As you guys know, we've been getting builds frequently, and mainly the reason is we have to make sure that we're giving everybody the best representation of the beta as possible. You get a lot of gaming projects out there that when they make their trailer, the game doesn't even represent the gameplay that you're seeing in a trailer. That's not who we are. We want to give everybody a realistic experience, and part of the process is making sure that the development studio is continuously fixing or correcting or making changes and adjustments to our standards. And I think that's really what has, held us up. I'm not saying that, anything is bad with the current gameplay, but they just have to stand out. Right, Josh? Is that kind of how you feel?
Yeah, I think so. We've done a lot of research on play to earn games, trailers, blockchain game trailers, anything related to kind of the blockchain scene, and we scrapped all of that. I didn't want to copy any of the stuff that I saw. So what I did is I went back to my roots, and I went to the true indie games that that are being developed at the moment, that are incredibly amazing, with low, smaller team budgets, people that are, really trying to come up into the space, with a bang. And I think some of these kind of intricate story trailers are really, really intriguing, and something that I haven't personally seen in the blockchain space. And that brings me, to that same point of that I just don't think that the blockchain games are created with that same kind of love that normal games are. That lore, that it's normally created because people, have an out to try and create a game with with funding, and their heart's not really in it, but they have to, so they create a game, and they create a game on the very minimum basis level that they can to get away with the fact that they've created a game. You've got to think about it like that from a business perspective. What does someone do? They have to keep their promise, because they've said to these people, and they've taken their money. So what happens with that? Well, what they do is they I don't know exactly, but I can tell with the quality of these games who's built these games. If you just log in and you get a general sense or feel for it, coming from myself or Dustin or Glitch, who have literally spent probably a year inside the world of Sacred Tales, it makes it very easy for us to know where people have cut corners or budgeted or in a sense why a game has been built, really. And that's just not us. It never has been us. We've come at it from an indie game developer's kind of point of view, in my opinion, and I think that is where it really kind of adds strength to our claim of what we intend to do. So the game trailer for us really was under very kind of heavy scrutiny in terms of the direction we wanted to go with it, and where we felt we best kind of fit in that kind of scene of the marketing, that kind of crazy marketing space of all the games out there. And we decided on a half-story trailer. So the storyboard for it has been done already. Artists are now going to be working on the scenes for the first part of the trailer. It will probably be about 5 or 6 scenes with some beautiful narration, some beautiful animation to really kind of get you into the world of what Sacred Tales is, the lore behind it, the beauty behind it, why you should play it. And for us, if it doesn't make the backs of our hairs on our necks stand up, it's not good enough. It has to have that adrenaline. After we do the lore side of things, it's going to go straight into the pure gameplay, the battles, the social elements, the chats, all of the good stuff. That makes Sacred Tales is going to be in this trailer. Now we're expecting a brand new build in a week from now, and that is the build that we're going to be using for the filming of the trailer. So everything's going to be in place before the build comes. When the build comes, we're going to review it, make sure that we're completely satisfied with it, and then what happens is we input the scenes that we want into the trailer. So the trailer's been in the works for a while now, and we are really on the home stretch on that front. So I know that people want a trailer, and I know that for us, it's about quality, and we really want to deliver you a quality trailer. I could get a trailer made in a day with some bits and bobs in it, and it could look okay. And but that's not how we do things. It's not us. We really want to represent the true joy of what we've created. So why would you skip the part where you're going to shout to the world about it? Do you know what I mean? If you're going to put that kind of time into developing such a good game, you're going to put that same kind of effort into developing the trailer that fairly represents Sacred Tales. So hopefully I kind of just gave a good kind of analysis of where we are.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when people see it, they're going to be thrown back, and that's what we want to accomplish, right? We want to wow you guys. And Josh nailed it perfect. We could have put out a mediocre trailer, but that's just not how we do things. So the wait will be well worth it, just like it has, with everything. So, all right, well, we know what to expect inside of a game trailer. Let's talk about the beta, because we are coming up to open the doors to the beta and let you guys in and experience, what we have been going through and experiencing on a daily basis. So Josh, let's kind of chat about what features can you expect in a beta. What's really the purpose of a beta, right? It is a testing, getting a feel for it. So can you kind of share your vision of what you want to see or what you're going to see? Because we have a clear outline now of kind of what the beta is going to offer the player.
Absolutely. So, for the beta itself, I'm going to go over the kind of the key functionalities that you could expect first. And then we're going to kind of, what I want to discuss first is what Dustin brought up is what is a beta and what can we expect from it. So the beta is not the live full game. It's very close to it, but it needs your feedback as the community, as players. We need people playing that game in and out every day, or interacting with people, engaging in ranking systems, tournaments, all of that stuff. So for us, it's really just about kind of fine-tuning and polishing the game itself, because whilst we've simulated it, with the Timber team, we've had access to 50, 60, 70 people at a time playing it and running a kind of early closed beta. In that respect, doesn't give you the same kind of feedback as the public, the general public jumping in and playing it. So with that said, what we're going to do with the beta initially is that there won't be any blockchain integration at the start. The testnet will come during the beta, but not at the start. The functionalities to expect in the beta when it does come is player-to-player private chats. Of course, you have the general chats where you'll be able to chat to anyone. You have the option for friendly or ranked matches. Now, the ranked matches, I don't want to go into too much detail on at the moment, but it will feature, you'll all start at like a bronze star rating. Obviously the star and the tiers might change as we move forward in the beta, but for now, everyone will start on the bronze star ranking, and you'll progress yourself up with wins in ranked matches. So it's really kind of important for us to have the ranked features in from the very start, because it's going to be a really integral part of Sacred Tales, with obviously the seasonal rewards based on your rankings, all of that good stuff. So another feature we're going to have in the beta, the ability to battle anyone, anywhere in the town / city, the world. You'll be able to go anywhere, battle them anywhere. There's various different locations that will spring up depending on where you challenge your opponent. We will be working on a tournament feature. So it will be like a round of 16 or 32 knockout feature, and the end goal for the Sacred Tales tournament structure, of course, as we've spoke to you guys a lot about, are the seasonal tournaments that we want to implement with the huge tournament pools. But there will also be open sit and go style tournaments. How I would compare them is similar to a sit and go tournament in poker. You have seasonal, big guaranteed tournaments, and then you have tournaments that are there and open for anyone to participate in whenever they want, and you will fill it up like that. However, when the economy goes into play with that, the tournament structure itself. Say, for example, it's a $10 entry fee, 16 people, that's $160 entry pool. The first place might take home $80, the second place might take home $40, and then that leaves $40 remaining, which will go into a faucet, and that will be added to the ultimate prize pool, the tournament prize pool at the end. So it's not only the tournament tax that we are amping on for funding into the tournament structure. It's the actual mini tournaments themselves that will slowly accrue and add up. The team that themselves will take a very small percentage of the faucet towards development, and the remainder of that will go into the tournament pool for the seasonal pools. So by doing that, we're able to, there's two avenues of funding where the tournament pools can get funded from. And that's just, near the start. I'm sure we'll be able to think of and build many different kind of revenue streams to generate small taxations towards those tournament pools in the future as well. We'll have friends lists as well. The ability to send messages privately to each other, which, by the way, just as clarification, all messages get completely deleted from the database. So, there's no worry of privacy or security or concern. It's just something that I personally think should be in games. Games are games. Games are there to have fun. Obviously, if you do misbehave, we will have a report button added in there at some point, and people will get penalised for that if they're abusive or anything like that. So, these are things we are considering, but super excited for the beta, and then I think that brings us on to, Dustin, the kind of live ops and what to expect as the beta continues, as we gain more feedback and we continue the live development into the world of Sacred Tales.
Absolutely. And just, as far as just recapping the beta, we really are looking for the feedback. Essentially, this is your game just as much as it is ours. A beta is a very raw, to a sense, feel when it comes to, some of the functions and features, and things are never perfect. But I think opening the doors and getting the community feedback from you guys is only going to paint, the picture of Sacred Tales, and going to, even help the evolution of our game. Live ops, we have a lot of big plans on what Sacred Tales is going to be and what we're going to accomplish. And you got to really look at the world right now as a small little piece of what our world is going to be. And we structured it that way for room for expansion, because down the line, we want to incorporate different towns, different environments, being able to house a bunch of different activities for the player to partake in. We're not just going to be a battle game. We're going to try to bring in the social element. The whole goal is keeping the player in the server, having a good time, escape the crazy real world at times, and come in with your friends and enjoy this world. Some of the things that we're going to incorporate are going to be our tavern. I'm sure you guys have seen, the bar, the tavern that's in the world. we want to make that a social hub and make that a place where you can come play mini games with friends, socialize, maybe buy a drink, etc., and just get a chance to interact and meet people. Josh, would you like to share anything about the tavern, or what you would want to see the tavern be a year from now, 2 years from now, etc.? I think we lost your audio. Muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah, I just muted it for a second. I forgot to unmute it. So just talk about the tavern. So yeah, the tavern really excites me personally. Kind of how I imagined it was, I don't know if anyone ever played Final Fantasy IX with Vivi. Essentially, when you go into like these buildings, it almost becomes another instance. It's the same thing with like Pokemon. So when you walk into a building, it goes and it goes like a black screen, and then you're in the building, right? So it's a separate instance. So the tavern will be that. And what it will be is it will support private chats in the tavern. So people outside the tavern won't be able to hear the conversations going on inside the tavern, vice versa. So it's kind of that privacy, that like further immersion, that like once you're in the tavern and you're speaking, it stays in the pub. Do you know what I mean? It's just these kind of little kind of touches that we want to add to it. In terms of the games that we're looking to play, one of the big ones that we're wanting, obviously we run a poker tournament every week, so it would be really nice for us to have a poker lobby inside the tavern itself, where we can run these weekly tournaments in game. That's something that we're currently exploring. One thing to consider with that is that any kind of gambling elements do require a Unity license for the same. So that is something that we're looking into at the moment. All of this stuff has to be, legally tick all the boxes as well. So it might take us a little bit longer at times, but everything we're doing, we don't have any concerns that at some point in the future, someone's going to come to us and say, you can't do that, take that away. And then that's money spent and money gone. So yeah, it's really important there. We're looking at a Bomberman style kind of game. All of the kind of, we've gone back and looked through all the Super Nintendo stuff and N64 stuff. The real kind of thing for me, I've had things thrown at me. Oh, what about chess or this or that? And it's like, it's not what we're looking for us. It's got to be like 4-player. It's got to have that, that immersion, that involvement, that kind of like nostalgia to take you back to when you were playing like Pokemon Stadium mini games or Mario Party 1, 2 or 3, like it's got to have that kind of feel to it. The restrictions that we do have is that we can't have physics-based games because physics requires an extreme amount of coding. So there are certain limitations there, but super excited as to what we're going to bring out. And I think one of the best things about that is this is going to be one of the first times that we implement our DAO token, Dustin. So how it's exactly going to be is that we will propose the mini games that we want to develop first for the tavern, and there will be a vote. I'm sure you guys have maybe you've used DAO votes before, but there'll be a voting system there where you will actually be able to choose the games that we develop first and that we put into Sacred Tales first. And I think that's super exciting, and I think that really starts to open that door of something that we've been saying for so long, and that is that everyone who is an investor here is part of building Sacred Tales. It's one thing saying it and one thing having the DAO deployed and audited, etc. But to actually utilize that and see the results of that in game, is for me, I think, an incredible experience for investors as well as myself to participate in, because I will of course vote on my favorite game that I want with my tokens, and hopefully I'll win. But that's the whole kind of beauty of it. And to add to the DAO side of things as well is in the live ops, of course, that we'll be looking to expand the map. Now the map itself at the moment is you're based on Tamashii Island, which is your starting location. Where you have the shrine, the stadium, etc. There will be some lore to kind of tell you a bit about Tamashii Island and the origins of Shinsei's, etc. But I'm not going to spoil that for now. You're going to have to wait till the trailer, unfortunately. But it really is almost like a tutorial island. Like that is the kind of scale that we intend on pushing out afterwards. We want you to be able to set sail onto the mainland and explore all of the different realms, all of the different elements, all of the different kind of story mode style additions as well in the new map that we want to add in. I've kind of just merged 2 points into one here, but we plan on having a story mode at some point, which consists of dojo battles against Shinsei. So, for example, you'll be going against the wind, the sky Shinsei, and obviously they'll be with super strong sky Shinsei, etc., etc. So there's a ton of different things that we will implement in the live ops, including obviously the testnet integration as well. So when we're at a point where we are happy with the actual gameplay itself, we will implement the testnet. Which will then you'll be able to connect your wallet. You'll be able to have your own personal Shinsei. So please bear that in mind. When you do first play the beta, you won't have your Shinsei that you own to start with. That will come probably around 3 or 4 weeks after the beta. I'm not sure. It really depends on how the testnet integration goes and stuff, but it's a very complex procedure. So please bear that in mind for when the beta does come. Also, I think we should most definitely touch on guild housing, as I think for myself and you, Dustin, that's probably the thing we're both most excited about.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really, being in talks with a lot of different guilds, it's a topic that they're very interested in. So it gives me a nice feeling to know that we're going to be able to bring in players in the masses, and they're going to feel that sense of camaraderie, with each other, a place to gather, hang out, prepare for battles, fly their colors, and gives them a sense of advertising as well. So there's so many incentives that the guild housing can bring, and definitely I would say at the top of my priority on what I want to see in the game. So and also the stadium too. We didn't really talk about the stadium. Stadium is something that's not going to be in the beta because it is being worked on. If you travel to the top of the hill, you'll see the stadium entrance. You'll be able to see the stadium. In the future, we want to hold our AMAs inside of the stadium. I think that is a really cool touch. You're not seeing any other gaming projects or anybody doing something like that inside of the metaverse. So so many big things coming.
Just to touch on the stadium, Dustin, if I could, the kind of one of the reasons why the stadium won't be out for the beta is because the stadium isn't just another arena for people to battle in. If that was the case, it would have been really easy to do. We wouldn't have done the dojo. We would have focused on the stadium. The stadium itself is there for the higher caliber tournament battles, the finals, the semi-finals. And the whole point of the stadium is that I want to give the ability to you guys who are players to be able to, even if you're not qualified or in this tournament, or you got knocked out, or you didn't qualify because of the skill caliber or whatever, I want you to be able to come in there. I want you to be able to traverse through the crowds, through the atmosphere at the bottom before the match starts, the hype, the atmosphere, the esports kind of style, electrification kind of environment, if that makes sense. I want shop vendors selling merchandise for the teams that are battling. All of these things that we can do in real life, like experience going to watch whatever our football team or whatever sport you're into. That kind of camaraderie and excitement of everyone coming together for an event. This is the kind of environment that we want to create for Sacred Tales, and that's why we put so much emphasis on the stadium itself in terms of how much time and design we've spent on it. So yeah, it's also a big deal in coding terms as well, to be able to have a stadium on an online world where people can watch this battle. It's a big ask and it's a big deal. It's not an easy challenge and it's not cheap either. But this is the kind of end goals that we have, and we think these kind of things, these kind of features that you don't have in these kind of games will kind of add that extra layer of immersion that doesn't really exist at the moment. It only kind of exists through watching a Twitch stream or the tournament hosted by the game's Twitch stream, right? Like, so League of Legends, for example, the finals, you'll watch that. It's probably a bad example because they actually have the stadium live on an esports thing. Like, people can actually come in there, right? But it will be nice to be able to give people that possibility to come in and experience it no matter where you are in the world, rather than being restricted to a US event or something like that, So yes, I think it's going to be really, really exciting. And also just to add on to the guild housing as well. So, for us, it's what we see with games is they speak about guilds, but it's more along the lines of wanting the investment of guilds rather than actually the guild itself. Does that make sense? And it's not the investment side of things that we are focused on. Of course, we always look at financial aspects and investment possibilities. We're not face down in that respect, but at the same time, it's really about kind of creating an exclusive member club in the game for your people to kind of hang out and have your own private space, to be able to pull together and upgrade your guild together, to be able to enter huge guild tournaments together, where you might see people in 6 months time buying cosmetic scarves of your guild because they're supporting your team and you're in the finals. Like it's just this is the kind of the vision that we have, and it doesn't come easy. It's really not easy. It's a tough ask what we put on our developers and what we strive for as a team. But that's our aim. We will aim for the very best, and we will do everything we can in our budgets to get us to that point.
Absolutely. It's almost coming up on a year, Josh, since Sacred Tales has been in development. It's been a wild year. It's been a productive year. I couldn't imagine sitting in this seat a year ago to be playing the game that I'm playing. It really has been kind of like a dream come true in the sense, but you really think about this, guys. It's only been a year of development, and we have the groundwork there for you guys to come in and play. Can you just imagine what this Sacred Tales world is going to look like another year down the line? I mean, this is really the beginning of something that we've poured our entire lives into and our passion into, and I think you guys are really going to see that when you're able to come into the world, and I'm excited for you guys to have that opportunity to be here so early and help us build and create this vision of Sacred Tales. It's so humbling, and a year from now, when you talk to people, they said, no way you could get a game out in a year. It's impossible, Josh. You can't do it. And we sure worked
on the budgets that we had at the time as well.
Right,
the grand scheme we were aiming for. People said no, there's no way. But that's what happens when you as a team. You don't pay yourself a wage. You live off the bare necessities needed, and you put every single penny of investment, of generation of taxes, of marketing taxes, every single bit of every single thing that you've got, and you push it into development, and you work hard, and you keep working hard, and then we have our result here. And that's our philosophy, that's our MO, and that's how we'll always be.
Absolutely. And really doing this in the current market conditions that we've dealt with, we've really started to create our own lane, right? Because you're probably involved, people listening, you've been involved in other projects, you see where they're at today, and you really can't look at the market sentiment. I try not to look at a chart at all. I do not have heavy investments anywhere in the crypto space because I'm so focused on building Sacred Tales. Because if you look at the successful projects that took off in the last bull run, they were created in conditions like this, and this is the time we put our heads down and we build, we work together, because our time's coming. And my main focus, and what I'll touch in here on the marketing side, is always going to be attracting the player, not so much attracting the buys and stuff like that, because when you bring in the player, it's all going to work itself out, and that's what I would much rather see. You coming into a world where there is 200 other players in your server, and you're able to interact with them and meet new people. They're going to want to be inside that server, and it's the marketing side is going to work itself out as far as buys and valuations. So that just shows that we're so focused on the game, and that's the priority. That's the main reason that we're here, is building this game and nothing else. So I just kind of wanted to share that, and I'll share some of the marketing approaches that we're going to be using here in the near future. So once we have the game trailer, we are going to have our YouTubers that we have 35 Filipino and Indonesian YouTubers that are going to be putting out game content. We're going to make sure that they're streaming beta gameplay, but they're all going to review the game trailer. We're also going to pay for YouTube ads to go across YouTube as well. So anybody that is either looking at a different crypto project, or if they're in a specialized like MMORPG type video, or that's kind of what they're into, a category, they're going to see the Sacred Tales video. So we're really going to target the gamer. We are going to target some DeFi, but the fact is that I would much rather grab the person that is currently playing like Axie Infinity, or some of our competitors. I want them to see what we're building. I'm fully aware of what the other games are doing in this space, and I am confident that we can win over those players just by the what we're building here and the dedication we have behind our platforms. When the beta goes live, I'm sorry?
I was just going to add on to what you were saying, if I could quickly.
Sure.
I was going to say, with what you said about focusing on the players and bringing the players in, and the real thing to think about is that there are a lot of different investment firms, not people, investment firms that are sat there and they are looking on these websites like DAP Radar or whatever, and they're looking at the stats, they're looking at how many players, they're looking at the player growth, and then when they make when they see these numbers, there are some that make complete sense and they invest a lot of money in them because they know that there's a lot of players, the growth is accelerating at a rapid pace, and that they're going to start bringing a really nice return on investment in for themselves. So there's really no need to market to these types of people because we're developing a game, and when the game grows, the game will market itself in that respect.
Absolutely, especially with what your inner workings are with the in-game economy, the mechanisms that we have to be sustainable long term. That's, I think, been the shortfall for a lot of other gaming projects. They're just not sustainable models. And even large games like Axie Infinity, who takes in millions of dollars of volume a day, in turn in game has shown that they're not sustainable. So you got to do things the right way. And we are sitting back taking notes on what work and what doesn't work, so we can provide an experience to the gamer that's going to be generational. And I truly believe that. When the beta comes out, we'll be reaching out to different Twitch streamers. I've already had a few relationships with a few different content creators that are on board with putting out content for us. We will be running banner ads through different outlets. Some we've used before, like PooCoin, but we will be reaching out now to gaming platforms. I've held back to really doing that until we have the footage and everything to bring people in, and the game they can just the website and download. That just changes the world as far as a marketing perspective, because all of our fund allocation has to been put in the right places, and that has been developing the platform. So yeah, we're going to be full steam ahead when we get the beta. And I think that's really about it from that. Obviously, we have an exchange listing that's going to be on our roadmap. So I've been in discussions with different exchanges for probably the past 3.5 months. We've worked out numbers. We've came to some really good agreements. Some good deals are out there. It's just all about a timing thing, right, guys? So once we're full-fledged with the gaming experience, there's nothing holding us back from getting listed on some of these exchanges, and it's just all timing, and we are getting really close, guys.
Absolutely.
So I think other than that, Josh, is there something that we missed that you would like to share before we jump into questions?
I don't think so. I think we've covered it. There might be something that comes to me tonight, but
yeah, that's usually how it goes.
I think we're good.
All right, so let's
questions, right?
Yep, I'm going to go ahead and pull some questions up through the Twitter. I did see a lot of them coming in. So.
The crowd here, that to the listeners, I have no idea the questions that Dustin's picked out, and I'm completely on the spot with these questions. That is Scout's honor. So let's bring the questions without further ado. Let's get to
now. We will give $10 for the person that asked the question. Now, when I'm going through these questions, I see a lot of the same names. So just because you gave me 40 questions doesn't mean you're going to get $400. But I'm going to go through, and some more questions have came through, and I haven't even seen them. Jake Arman has asked a good deal of questions. I'm going to go ahead and just pick one here that I seen earlier. What are the main ways that the Sacred Tales economy will encourage players to keep/add funds to the economy rather than selling tokens and withdrawing their funds?
I think it's a great question, actually. And
it is.
I swear to God, there's no rehearsal here. I don't have a script that I'm reading. I swear to God. No, but yeah, it's a really good question. And what it really boils down to is what the game is. It's not how do you do it; it's can you do it. In my opinion, and that is everything that we have strived for, is to create that kind of immersion in game that people will want to spend money on cosmetics, people will want to spend money on auras, people will want to spend money on emotes for their Shinseis. It's really about kind of creating a world in a sense that people feel that we can bring joy to people by experiencing this world. People come in and they feel that joy, they feel that relaxation, they feel that escapism. So for us, really, it's never been about profits, which is probably a bit of a weird thing to say in investment or crypto, but you all know that about us. And I'm not going to hide away from the fact that our priority has been on building a fun game first and a profitable game second. And with that coming in, I don't see personally that as a negative, because I think that if you come from that mentality, I don't know any other developers that have in the blockchain space that have that mentality, shall I say. And even in the mainstream gaming space, only really kind of small indie games, but again, they're being developed with the sense of make money, then go on to build another game. Now, Sacred Tales is there to really kind of create that sense of immersion and longevity that we all kind of want in a game. It's not a game that you necessarily will play 16 hours a day, but it's a game that you'll jump into for 2 or 3 hours a day, every day for, every week. And that's the kind of environment that we want. We want people to come in, we want people to, hang out with their friends, log into the worlds with their friends. And what also comes with that is a sense of self-identity and self-representation when you're in games. So you'll really find what people initially want to do is express who they are in terms of their avatars, their Shinsei, their emotes that they have, that all of that stuff. So I think that people will come in and jump straight into the cosmetic side of things, and once you've done that, and once you've bridged past that point, and someone's already invested, even if it's a couple of dollars, people start to feel a bit more, a lot more comfortable with the environment and with the world. And, one thing for us is it's really important to not force purchases on people. People should still be able to play the game without even thinking about going to the shop. It should be that people want to go to the shop, people want to buy these auras, people want to buy these cosmetics, people want to show off with their new emojis and things like that. So, it's... I think it's one of those things that people always come and go from games. You'll never, no matter how good a game is, at some point someone doesn't want to play it anymore or whatever. We've all experienced that with games before. Even when I played RuneScape in the past, it's a fantastic game, but I got bored of it at some point, right? And I stopped playing it. But I kept all my items and stuff in there because I loved the game so much that if I ever did want to come back in and jump in and play it again, which I do from time to time, I still have all my stuff, I still have all my items, I can jump in and still experience that. But, I'm talking about after playing it like non-stop for 4 or 5 years. Do you know what I mean? But, it's really just about creating that kind of world, that sentimentality, that kind of deeper connection to even just like items or cosmetics and stuff, like things that identify you as you, sounds kind of maybe a little bit kind of far off, but that's really how I feel that we've built Sacred Tales.
Yeah. Well, you look at the gaming industry in general, and just game assets are $1 billion industry on itself. You look at Fortnite and Warzone, and people want to set themselves and differentiate themselves from everybody else and show that you're, a king, right? That's what, and we're going to welcome that. I think that's a lot of fun to gaming in general, is just that self-identity, especially now talking about the metaverse. We're going to offer these in-game items, and I think it's going to be a big hit for everybody. Jake, awesome question. I'm going to go ahead and read one more of your questions here because I did see it. Will funding for 2023 be driven by sale of in-game assets, or will a team be exploring VC funding once a more finalized version of the game is released?
It's a question that it doesn't always have a specific answer, Jake. And what I mean by that is there's two avenues that we have. Of course, we have the side of things where we know we can kind of count on these resources to come in when we bring out the game, we bring out content, and obviously generate money through those means. And I mean, that is ideally the long term path that we want to go down, full term. If we can get to a point where we no longer require any kind of VC capital, I think everyone in the investment side of Sacred Tales will be very happy, because there are no vesting cliffs or token allocations of hundreds of millions for you guys to worry about people selling. At the end of the day, everyone that holds these tokens is in this chat with you guys. You all know each other, and in a way, I think that's kind of poetically perfect, especially from a long-term business perspective. So for us, it boils down to getting it to a point where we can self-fund, self-generate, and continue development through game purchases, and by doing so, maintain complete control of the equity, and also keep the treasury kind of locked away for play to earn rewards solely, instead of allocating 10% of the total supply to a VC firm. However, if there is a suitable offer that comes in and it ticks all of our boxes and we are able to maintain the control that we desire, then of course we'll go in and enter a room and have a discussion. But at this current moment, that's not something I'm focused on. It's something that Dustin works on every day with his contacts with the people that he meets, and it's always kind of a to and fro where Dustin is so VC is a good option for the future, and I agree with that. But it's also the same thing about relinquishing control, token cliff vesting, and this is where me and Dustin always come back to the same thing of it's if we can generate those funds properly, because we've set up our business perfectly, then it puts us in a much better position in the long term. So I hope I answered that there.
Yeah, 100% well said. And we've done a great job, to date, to make sure that we fund appropriately. Yes, budgets have been tight in some places just due to the market conditions, but we have never worried. We've always put our heads down and got the mission done. We'll always entertain conversations with different venture capitalist investments. Just as of right now, it just doesn't make sense for us, because we do want to regain, we want to have the control of how the game is going to play, what's going to happen in game. And we've never looked at everything like a big monetary gain for us. So when you bring in a party that their main objective is to make as much money on a project as possible, two heads are kind of hitting each other, you know what I mean? So, our main focus is on creating a in-game experience for you guys, and the rest, let me handle that as far as funding goes. I'm not worried one bit that we're going to be able to accomplish what we're setting out to do. So another good question. Thank you so much, Mr. Jake Armin. All right, Michal. How many players can play together in one world?
So the current crop that we can offer is approximately 1,000 players per world for all. Now, the question of that is the world big enough to host 1,000 players enjoyably? Probably not at the moment. So I imagine that we'll restrict it down to around 250 players a world at this current beta, which I think is still plenty. How I want it structured is like World 1, World 2, World 3 kind of thing. So you'll have a main world which will always be like full, and then you'll have like worlds that fall off that kind of like people can fill in and kind of, you might see it to a point where World 2 is full, and then it will just fall down to World 3, and then it will fill, then World 4, then it will fill. So we're keeping to a similar kind of structure to RuneScape in that respect, because if it's not broke, don't fix it is my motto. And I think that's a really good kind of system to house players in a MMO structure. So
Yeah, we definitely can open up more servers when the demand is there for the game. That's something we'll anticipate down the line. But for, being able to control the flow of beta players, we want to really try to bring you all together, familiar faces in the same place. There'll be enough room and for all of you guys to explore together. That's a good question. Another question from you: will Shinsei get better after battles?
Yeah, good question. Yes, they will. I'm not going to go into too many details at the moment because we're still working on it in terms of the progression, the XP implementation we have for auras in the future, which will give boosts to Shinsei depending on the kind of boost that you attach to the aura that you attach to them. Of course, we'll have levels and experience coming out that won't be initially. That will be nearer the time where we are looking at implementing the story mode. Because obviously without the story mode, there's no real purpose to a leveling system if it's PvP. So that's what we're looking at for that. Was there more to that question, Dustin?
No, she just was wondering if they got stronger after battling. So
yeah, initially, no. In the beta, when it first starts, no, they will be set at a cap of level 25. However, that obviously is just for the beta, for the initial beta. When we're ready to get to a point where we want to implement a story mode, we want to implement the upgrades for Shinseis, for auras, and the ability you will have to level up your Shinsei with experience points when the story mode comes.
Awesome. Good question. $10 for you, my friend. And Jake, $10 coming to you. Next question I have is from Lee D. Says one of the limitations to some of the play to earn blockchain games is that they require a high initial investment to start playing, many of which are very expensive. Can we start playing Sacred Tales with a small investment? Will there be any discounts or benefits to early adopters?
So that question's got multiple layers. What was the first bit?
It does.
I'll take it.
Will you require a high investment to start playing?
No, you will not. I want to implement a free-to-play mechanism in-game, similar to how the original Pokemon Stadium had rental Pokemon. That's the exact kind of scheme that I want. I've actually been in contact with developers who actually brought around like a new protocol for renting systems for NFTs. Won't mention their names at the moment because obviously, we're not kind of fully done with our verification with them or anything like that. So we wouldn't want to advertise anything that could be dangerous or whatever. But essentially the point is that I want to be able to advertise free to play, that people can jump straight in without paying a single penny. They can rent some Shinsei. Will the Shinsei be breadwinners? Not necessarily. And that's where the early adopters side of things comes in, because the legacy Shinsei are going to have superior stats to regular Shinsei in that respect. Even a common will be superior to a regular common Shinsei in that respect. So yeah, it's really about kind of catering for both. I really don't want a paywall. I really don't want a pay barrier of any kind of any sort. And there's always going to be more expensive Shinsei. There's always going to be Shinsei that are better for certain roles. There's always going to be a meta, a meta of. Is it a meta? Do they? Yes. Yeah. So with all it's used in different terms in blockchain these days, isn't it? Meta. But the meta, there'll always be certain Shinsei that are more powerful. Of course, they'll come with a higher price tag, etc., etc. What you'll see is people trying to, hoard the specific Shinseis that are really good in certain situations. And what we will do is we will come in and mess up their shit from time to time. So we're going to be rebalancing the beta. There's not going to be a cheat code or buy this Shinsei and win every match. We will make sure that there is sufficient RNG in every single match so that legendary Shinsei can be beaten by commons. Now, it is unlikely, but it is possible. And for me, that's a big deal, because I don't want people to come in, buy the cheapest Shinsei because it's the lowest. Say they want to own Shinsei, so they go in and they buy all commons because they're obviously the cheapest on Hoardable at the time. Game's out. I still want them to have a really good chance at being able to beat anyone. As long as they are smart, they play their moves right, they're clever with their elemental effectivenesses. I still want them to be a possibility. I don't want it to be easy, and I don't want to completely disregard the power scheme of legendary and take away any kind of prestige from that legendary. But also, we have to make sure that in the long term, that it balances out and that we're able to attract, a plethora of players that aren't off by, the perks that the early investors have got.
Yeah, and there's going to be tiering sides to the tournament play as well, and having, friendly battles. So if, as far as like a free to play element, that's not just battling that's going to attract you into the world of Sacred Tales, maybe initially, but there's so many other things that were in the game that it's not just going to be a battle game. There's going to be a story behind it. There's going to be mini games. There's going to be social elements. We want to create such a wide variety of things for the player to do, that to get into the high level tournaments, you may have to have, your Shinsei, but we're going to make it a possibility for this player to, get their feet wet, see what the battling, see what the game's about, and then they can decide if they want to make that next initial investment
to go up into
the higher tournaments.
I think that's exactly it. Like, you're asking people to part with money on essentially it would be to them a risk because they haven't played the game yet, they haven't experienced it, right? So they're taking a chance on it, and it's the same thing I did when I simulated being a user, an investor playing Axie. I did that before we created Sacred Tales. I wanted to deep dive into these games and really kind of find what makes them tick. And for me, it's just really, really important to not have such high priced barrier walls, because all you have to do is look at games like Axie, and again, all respect to what they've done, but at the same time, these problems keep cropping up, and not just games like Axie, but all these blockchain games, is that the pay barrier is too high. The hype lasts for 2, 3, 4 weeks before launch. Then it continues for maybe a week or two post-launch. YouTube clips, I've earned this much money playing this game, and then what happens? You never hear about them again. Have you ever figured that out? When you hear about these games that all of these influencers are currently playing week 1, are they playing in week 2? Probably not. Do you know what I mean? So I can't remember what the question was because I've rambled so much. Could you remind me, please?
Yeah. I got to go back to where we were at. This was, we covered it. This was about the player costs to get into the game. So I think we pretty much covered it all the way around. As far as like discounts and benefits, if you participated in the staking, there was a benefit there for, a Shinsei. We're going to have in-game items that are going to be incentive for early adopters that are participating. Having this tournament structure for the beta is going to allow us to do different tournaments, different events for you guys as a community. We're going to be able to give away certain things, when that time comes, whether it's in-game items or whether it's a monetary gain. But we're going to continue to look at ways to incentivize the player, and I think that was why it was so important to get a tournament kind of structure just in a beta, which is really unheard of. Incorporating some kind of tournaments into a beta. But I think that will allow us to really bring in that competitive side and be able to give back to the community, because we're always trying to find ways to give back to the community or do something that would be fun for the community to do. So those are some things we're going to implement. So awesome question, Lee. Thank you so much for that.
Just to add on while you're picking another question. So in terms of the beta, so obviously it will be to legacy Shinsei holders first, exclusively. And then what we're actually wanting to do is add like a +1 mechanism onto it. So if you have access to the beta, you will be able to bring a friend in to come out and try the game itself without having to pay anything. So I think it will be a really good kind of idea to say, hey, I'm invested in this. I've got a +1. Come in and join me. Let's play together, have some fun, and it won't cost them anything. And who knows? Maybe they really love the game and they become players. So we want to really kind of give early investors all of the keys to fully testing and helping us to really make sure we nail this launch on the head.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to move on to questions. Looks like Yu Yen has a question that reads, partnership is always an important factor for every project. So who is your partner and what are benefits you will get from those relationships? And this is a question from me, so I'll go ahead and answer this. Partnerships are something that I deal with. We have made partnerships with a few different guilds. The House of Obsidian is one, Lazarin Guild, there's a couple other guilds, I'm sorry, that are just kind of can't come to my mind right away. But we just did the Farmer Doge contest, which then led to a sense of a partnership type deal for down the line. John from Sea Cows, who is a Sacred Tales holder, has, his project that we are looking at testing. And, the whole thing with partnerships, especially this time in the space, is what teams are out there developing something that's innovative, something that could work within our ecosystem. We always want to see other projects do well. We are going to offer some advertising bits in game. We're just trying to figure out the way to do that. Give some new projects, maybe some exposure, ones that we, feel fit to bring in. For me personally, partnerships are one of those things where if I'm going to introduce a project to our community, I want to make sure I fully believe in that project as much as ours, to a sense, right? Because if you go invest your money in and something happens, I would hate to be the one to tell you about it or mark a partnership. So I'm very protective of our community, but we do look at partnerships that make sense. And guilds are a prime example, how we're always talking and working with guilds because we do have the guild housing to offer them. And we're not looking at them as a monetary item. We're looking at them like a player base, and we want their players to fully be, integrated into our game. So that's the main focus on that. So as far as partnerships go, I'm sure they'll evolve down the line. There'll be different types of partnerships that come to our table and we'll take serious looks at. But for now, I think I'm very happy with our current standing with our partners, and the door is always there. If you guys want to knock on it and talk to me, I'll be more than happy to listen.
He normally says no there, by the way. That's the thing as well, isn't it? Just to kind of add to it is, there's a lot of different projects that have come up to us, approached us and asked for these partnerships, but it's easy for them to come and ask us because they jump into Sacred Tales chat, they can see how excited everyone is, how enthusiastic, the positive vibe, which is night and day from probably 95% of other crypto, Telegram, Discord, even Discord chats, whatever. We have an amazing community, and it's just like, and it sounds weird saying this, but it's pure. It's everyone is here because they genuinely love what we're building. They love the game and they just want to play, and I think that's it's such a valuable thing to have, to have that kind of support. We're so lucky. And when these partnerships come to us and they knock on our door and say, hey, let's link up or whatever, we know what they're after. That they want to tap into our
guys,
and they want they want that. And what they don't understand is that that doesn't happen overnight. And
absolutely,
we have to put ourselves as developers or our team members, we have to put ourselves on the ground level, on the ground floor, working hard every single day. We love chatting to you guys. We're in the chats all the time. We're all like on a friend level, and it's such a nice way and feeling to be. And I'm sure there are times when you guys get anxious or aggravated, or you're like, where's this? Why isn't this happening? Or whatever. And we're always there to listen to you as well in those times. Whenever there's something you don't feel is going perfectly, or you think we are weak in a certain area, or we need to strengthen, we'll always listen and we'll always take that on board. And I'm very protective over my communities, and there's not many projects out there that really excite me. There really isn't. However, if there are projects that I feel that we can incorporate into our game, such as the rental standards for NFTs, and I'm happy with that, then I will form a partnership with them, and they will most likely want to help work for free just to get their product out there, to say how good their system is, right? So these are the kind of partnerships that we're eyeing up, and it's not just any generic token. Farmer Doge was an exception because of the team members that they had there, and the facts of mutual connections between our investors and theirs, which is how it came about, and we're really happy with it. But again, we're very, very kind of strict on who we do accept, because it's we love what we have here, and like Dustin said, in terms of risk assessment with other projects, we can't guarantee that. We don't control these other projects and what they do. They might seem nice now, but in 6 months' time, they might shut up shop. And, we don't want to have that responsibility over you guys to say, we pointed you in that direction, because obviously we come in from a place of trust where we've held all of your money from time to time, and unlocked it, relocked it. Do you know what I mean? Like we've been responsible for hundreds of thousands of dollars at one point, and we don't know if that trust level reciprocates to these partners. So this is the kind of hard decisions that we have to make. But in the end, the real kind of basis of it is that we're there to protect you. So, we won't make any kind of rash decisions on it, and partnerships really do have to be strategic and beneficial for us to consider.
Absolutely. No, well said. There's a lot of good questions out there, guys. A lot of these questions that I've read, I think we've answered in the AMA. If there's something that you want, one more question?
One more, I reckon, then we're done.
Okay, let's grab one from Buckload Clothing.
Oh,
familiar name there. What are your plans to have a much more sustainable game for like long term, not for just a few months or years? As we know, a lot of play to earns, they last for a few months. So if you want to quickly touch on, how our tournament tax is really set up, how we're looking at seasonal rewards versus instantaneous rewards, those inner workings of an in-game economy that can be proven to be sustainable.
Well, that's it. And it's all about the deflationary mechanisms that you have in place. To implement a 25% burn on any purchase in game is to some insane, because that's the profit of the developer. But, what you have to look at is the long-term vision in terms of what that does is that creates such a huge deflationary mechanism that although, in terms of our budgets and funding, we will take a 25% cut in that respect. The project itself will grow, it will magnify from having those mechanisms in place, to the fact that in the long term, we will generate a lot more money, even with the 25% deflationary measure, than we would if we kept it with no deflationary measure and took 100% of the profits for in-game sales, cosmetics, etc. The real kind of basis and emphasis of it is you've got two ways, haven't you? You've got money coming in and you've got money coming out. And the main problem is the money coming in is less than the money coming out. To start with, the money coming in is always, sufficient. It's always a lot higher, but as the game goes on and people start to farm rewards, it becomes the other way, and then it's a box you can't close. So it's really important for us to have our mechanisms in place from the very start to be able to take on board all of the mistakes and decisions and choices that people have made in the past, and in the present. And we have all of that information at our hands. We've spent an entire year pretty much going through a bear market, really. Okay, maybe not at the start, but it's been a really tough 6 months, especially for the play to earn space. And it's given us such an ample opportunity in a way to really kind of research and find out what works and what doesn't. And we're really confident in that respect, because, as I said, whilst we're a company and we intend on making profits in the long term, that's not the priority of Sacred Tales. It's not the priority is not to make, to generate an extreme amount of profit. The priority is to bring in enough revenue to continue funding and funding and development of Sacred Tales, and to continue building it year by year by year. A year from now, will the game even be recognizable from when the beta is on? No, I don't think so. I think it'll be a completely evolved game in a year from now. So, it's really just about making sure that our staff are paid, that we have ample cash flow, for the year coming. The development side of things, that we continue to keep moving continuous cog, it can't stop. yeah, probably gone a little bit off piece there with Bucklord's question, but hopefully I got my point across.
I wouldn't expect any less. So fantastic. My kids just got home from school, so if my dog barks, my apologies. I'm going to try to mute it when that happens. Excellent questions, guys. I'm going to go ahead and reach out to you. Make sure you guys get paid. If I missed a question, because there was a lot of them here, feel free to reach out to us. Be sure to make it public. This stream will go on YouTube. It will go on Spotify as well. So Josh, is there anything else that we left off that you'd like to share with the community?
Just to mention that we'll be doing our next AMA in 2 weeks. So it will be on Sunday. So 2 weeks yesterday. So we'll get that all penned in and make sure everyone has ample notifications. But essentially, we're going to be really, really close to the beta launch then for the trailer as well. So hopefully we're going to have some really exciting things to share with you. Hopefully we'll have some exciting content to share with you in the next couple of weeks as well. It's really a case of how much do we show you before we put it in the trailer, because if we show you the trailer piece by piece by piece, it's going to lose its impact on you when you watch it for the first time. So it's really exciting times for us. And again, thank you for all of your support. It's crazy that it's been a year already. It doesn't feel like that. It feels, it does in a way. It's been hard work, but time really does fly, doesn't it? And I just can't wait to invite you guys all in and see all the hard work that we've been doing over this year, because without you guys, none of this would have been possible. And it really, it's going to really, really feel real for us when you guys are all in there with us. So thank you for joining the AMA. Thank you for the questions, and look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks.